Hello and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. We're so glad that you joined us, and today we have a very exciting thing. I don't even know how to classify it, but we'll just let Raven take it away.
Okay. So we are talking about dragon's blood.
Ooh
Ooh,
la la.
I know.
Oh, I really
I'm
hate how it does
excited.
that sometimes. Sometimes there we go.
I
That's so
love
weird.
that picture with the red drop. I want
I
to like
know, me
get off so bad.
too.
I was waiting for
Um,
somebody to do this because I love it so much. It's awesome.
I started to do one that I wanted to do, but then I realized that I needed more time because I didn't know as much about it. And so then I put that on the back burner and we're doing dragon's blood. So, also one time when we were all together at a gathering in a place that we don't really talk about anymore, we had invited, like we had like opened it up and someone had said something about dragon's blood. I think like dragon's blood covered sage, which we'll talk about later. And this lady who had never been to one of our meetings before was like, dragon's blood, I'm a vegetarian. What is that? And I was like, it's okay. I'm a vegan. It's a resin. We're talking about a resin.
That's
So it
great.
is not real blood.
Oh my God, they slayed a dragon.
Exactly. Like a
It's
bearded
in the
dragon.
backyard. They pumped it from the dragon's heart.
It
Yeah,
was
good
Exactly.
so
stuff,
cute. It was
man.
just like, it was
That
so
is
innocent.
very,
It
I
was
know,
so
I
cute.
know. Like, come on.
Adorable.
It's a dragon.
It's
We
a
weren't gonna hurt the
dragon.
dragon. Mm.
um, Man. Okay, so dragon's blood. Now, dragon's blood is a resin. So here we see our little drip here. So obviously it comes from from a tree. Now I'm going to talk about the tree because I think it's important, but we are focusing on the actual resin. So the botanical name, isn't this a beautiful picture too? Look at how dark that is. Um, Daemonorops. I don't know how to say that. Draco. The parts used are the sap. Now, I had read somewhere that the dragon's blood is actually a component of the seeds, and I couldn't find it anywhere else other than that one like website. So I said not seeds. I'm
Hmm.
not 1000% sure. I know it comes from the resin, but there might be some other component that could come from the seeds. I had never heard that before. Have you guys heard that before?
No, I've only heard.
No,
Me neither.
I got
Okay.
most of my dragon's blood info from you though, so
Yeah, yeah. So it's resin, not seeds, from what I know.
yeah,
And
that's what
then,
I was understanding too. I've never heard that.
yeah, yeah. So weird. Anyways, so some folk names we have calamus, draco, draconius, resina, sanguis, draconius, dragon, blood, palm, and bloom. There's also one more that is less common now. It was more common back in ancient times, but I'm gonna save it because I think it's funny.
Okay.
All right, so there are a lot of tree species that you can get dragon's blood from. These are the three
Ooh.
most common, which is Dracaena cinnabari, Draconia draco, and calamus draco. Now, some places use these two interchangeably, but from what
Mm.
I know and from what I looked at, they're different trees.
Mm.
Now, these are a list of all the trees that you can get
Wow.
dragon's blood from. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but if you're interested, like I also give you places where they come from. So, dragon's blood
Okay.
isn't a specific resin, it's mostly anything that is a dark red resin from a tree that kind of looks like these trees. They basically call it dragon's blood.
A lot
So,
of them are Dracaena, but
yeah,
like a lot in that
a lot of them come from the
family,
same
a lot,
family. Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
I can see the family ones, but like
Yeah.
some of these Croton ones, I don't know
I
about
know.
Yeah, those are
Proton.
interesting
Interesting.
ones.
I know.
So,
that.
and then
So you're
like
like, oh,
Borneo has this Zanzibar drop, which is I don't know. Anyways, so there's a lot. So basically, if you go to a store or a little like mystic shop and you pick up some dragon's blood, it could be resin from any of these. But again, most commonly we see it taken from these three.
Nice.
Now, some interesting things about the tree. Now, the growth pattern is really interesting, and we're talking about all three of these, but a lot of times we're talking about the calamus draco or the cinnabar. Now the growth pattern is really interesting because it always grows out 2 branches at a time. So you can kind of see here, like here's one main branch. So well, we can start at the trunk, and then these 2, let's say, grew together at the same time. And then as it went up, these 2 grow together at the same time. So the branches always come up in pairs, which is interesting. And then eaves, that should be leaves. Let's see, let me fix that real quick. There we go. And so you also only get the leaves at the tip of the branches. So you can see here, I'll have a bunch of other pictures here too, but the leaves don't grow at all down in these branches. They only grow on new branches. I love this picture too. So much.
Whoa, that's rad.
Oh my.
Isn't that so cool looking?
It is.
So because it's a resin, I don't say this, but because it's a resin, it's the tree's way of fixing itself, right? If you're not very familiar, if people watching aren't familiar with resins, the tree emits, like, if the tree is hurt, so if it's cut or something, then the resin is a way of kind of like sealing off the wound almost. Well, the sap is, and then typically like hardens into resin. We've had a big discussion about that before. So that's what it is. So all the red here is the dragon's blood resin, and it's the tree trying to help itself, heal itself, basically.
Yes.
So another interesting thing is the Draconia trees do not grow rings. You can kind of see that here. There's not very clear tree rings. So the theory is you can determine the age by counting the branches. So every 2 branches equals 10 years. And that's how you can tell. I don't know. They don't seem to be super, super confident about this. This seems to kind of just be a theory floating around. So I don't know how true that is, but that is a theory. Also, look, you can see the 2s on this picture really well. So like here's a branch, and then we have the 2, and then here we have the 2. So it always grows in the 2s.
Grows in the 2s.
Which is interesting because I feel like that would be a tie to the tarot a bit, but it's not. From what people say.
According to my research.
According to my research, yeah. Okay, so something interesting is it's a big part of the ecosystem because it provides this umbrella. This is how it naturally grows, right? Leaves on the top.
So pretty.
And because it grows like an umbrella, a lot of animals gather under it during storms and stuff for shelter. And I couldn't find a pic. I searched through like 10 pages of Google to find a picture of an animal under a tree, but I couldn't find one, so I just put it out there.
You put the kitty under the tree.
How hilarious.
I almost texted you, Rebecca, to be like, hey, can you please ask AI to generate this image? But I was like, I don't care.
You know what? I can do it. I love it.
You're like, exactly. That's hilarious. Like,
oh my goodness. This is Photoshop.
Exactly.
Photoshopped. That cat is really there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Native cat there.
Native cat, yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Another thing that it does for the ecosystem is basically it collects water in these big leaves and like all of these branches, and then it funnels it, because it's like a funnel, right? So it funnels it down and basically like helps water the ground. So it like encourages other plants to grow near it. So it's a very like, I don't know, it feels very familial in that way, kind of. So I thought that was pretty cool. So the back in ancient Rome, a lot of people were mixing up dragon's blood resin with cinnabar, which is crazy. This is cinnabar. It's super poisonous. It's mercury sulfide. It's basically like oxidized mercury, and it's a mineral. And I know people who have like a lot of crystals and stuff, and they have like chunks of cinnabar, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, put gloves on. Like, why do you even have that in your house? It's crazy. It's super, super, super poisonous. Even if like it touches your skin a little bit, it's like really, I mean, it's mercury. You're not supposed to touch it.
Amazing.
But they used to burn it, like thinking that it was dragon's blood.
And it is not.
Yeah, it is not. I mean, it looks like kind of pink, but the color isn't even close. Dragon's blood resin is so dark, but who knows? So also, oh, here's the other name. It was also used to be called Red Rock opium, and it was named that specifically to try to sell it to people who were searching for like opioids. So these people who were like ripping off these people looking for opioids, and so they called it Red Rock opium, which I thought was funny, kind of sad, but also kind of funny. It does not contain any opioids, so
Womp womp.
I know, unfortunately.
In case you're being tried to
If you're trying to suck on this dragon's blood incense and get a little bit of an opium high, you're going to be sad to learn.
Sadly disappointed.
I'm sad to disappoint you, you little idiot.
Oh man. So it's also been used in like ancient paintings. So this is in Giotto's Pentecost. Basically it's believed that the flames above the apostle's head was made using dragon's blood pigment. And so it has been, it's not super, super popular in paintings, but it has been used now and then in paintings.
Yeah, all right.
And then we also have an 18th century recipe for tooth powder that contains dragon's blood. And I had to search high and low for this. This is not the real thing. This is just a picture I found online. But the recipe for this tooth powder was dragon's blood, cinnamon, and burnt alum. Alum. So I don't know how good that is for your teeth, but there you go.
There you go.
There you go. There it is. Maybe throw some like.
That's how you should brush your teeth. 9 out of 10 dentists recommend.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That one extra dentist that doesn't agree with the gum and toothpaste, this is what they go for, probably.
Probably. They'll all use Tooth Fairy instead.
That's great.
But 10th doctor.
Yeah.
Every 10th doctor says.
Yeah. Says Tooth Fairy. So it was used as a source for varnish, especially for violin varnish, but used for any type of paint varnish. And so this is just to show you how dark it can make it. So these are the fresh and these are dried. So this is just the red, and the red was made with vermilion and then seedlac, which is like a crushed bug basically. And this is the color. And then if you add dragon's blood, this is the dried color. So dried red, and then dried red with dragon's blood. So it makes it much like richer and darker.
Yeah.
Then we also use it in like writing ink. So you can, similar to like the paintings, but just less art, I guess. You can use it for like ink. It has been used in like handmade posters, especially for like weddings throughout Europe and Asia. And then posters for the Chinese New Year, they used dragon's blood a lot. I'm guessing for the association with the dragon. I'm not totally sure about that, but that would be my guess. And then I included this just so that you can see the color of the ink. So this is just powdered dragon's blood resin. This is alcohol. And so when you mix them, this is the color of the ink. It really does look like dried blood. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I've used dragon's blood ink before. I like it. Okay, so then we have a couple myths to talk about. So in Greek mythology, the dragon's blood like tree comes from Hercules and Ladon. And we've talked about this before. We talked about this with the golden apples. This story has come up a couple times in our like, I don't know, our recordings, our videos. Yeah. But so this is coming back to that lore, which is where Ladon was the 100-headed dragon. Sometimes people just refer to him as single-headed. I actually couldn't find an like old picture of the 100-headed dragon. That was all, they were all AI created. All the pictures that I found of it were single-headed. But this dragon protects the golden apples. So if you remember, like Hercules had like 11, I think it was 11. Yeah, he had 11 labors that he had to do, 11 or 12 labors.
12, I think.
And 12, yeah, I think you're right, because this was the second to last one.
Yeah.
And he had to steal these golden apples. Eventually he did. We talk about Atlas, like helped him, all of this stuff. So basically Hercules had to kill this dragon, had to kill Ladon so that he could get to the tree which was growing the golden apples. And it said that he killed the dragon, and then where the dragon lay dead on the ground, where his blood fell into the earth, created these trees that created the dragon's blood resin.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Sounds about
that's pretty
right.
cool. Then we have the Hindu myth. The Hindu myth said that the gods Brahma and Shiva fought, and that Brahma was a dragon, Shiva was the elephant, and then they were, I don't know, I can't remember why they were fighting, but the dragon bit the elephant and drank its blood to kill it, and then the elephant fell on the dragon, which killed the dragon, so they both died. And when their bloods on the ground mixed together, it created the tree which had the red sap.
Hmm.
And then we have Arabic culture. I also like this picture a lot. We have Arabic culture, which is the story of Darsa and Samha, which I looked high and low for more information on this legend, and I couldn't find anything more than this very general telling. So I don't know if there's more to the story out there, but I mean, I probably spent half an hour looking for more just on this alone and couldn't find anything. But the lore goes, so in Yemen, these two brothers were the first people to settle in like this place in Yemen. And for some reason they fought. It's very similar to the story of Cain and Abel. So they fought to the death. And then once the first murder, I don't know who killed whom, but once the first murder was committed on those lands, then the trees grew from that blood that had spilled. And then we also have ties to alchemy. So the elixir of life, which we've probably talked about before, but the elixir vitae in Latin is this mixture where alchemists said that you could combine these components and create everlasting life, right? The elixir of life was to be immortal. And a lot of people throughout time tried to create or did create forms of elixir of life and drink it and died. Lots and lots of people, especially in China. But the recipes were different from land to land, but they all pretty much created some combination of cinnabar, which we talked about earlier, super poisonous just to touch. Gold, mercury, which is also super poisonous. Gold, I feel like, is right on cue for alchemists. Sulfur,
right.
Iron, copper, and honey. So
add some honey in there just to
that also is apropos to the alchemist.
Yeah. Seriously. So it was heavily tied in
well, this one killed him too.
Types.
God damn it! I thought for sure that one was going to give him life.
Try again.
Well, let's try another mixture.
They said that there
Put
was
some aconite.
There was like, I couldn't find any numbers for anywhere in the world other than China, but the numbers that I found in China was that there were hundreds of people who died from trying to drink elixirs of life just in China. So don't drink.
Yeah.
Promising the elixir of life, you might want to think twice.
Yes, think twice about that.
Nobody wants an unoiled snake.
Yes. Okay, so as usual, we're not physicians, don't consume, take at your own risk, whatever. So antimicrobial, antioxidant, antibacterial, antiviral, digestive aid, anti-cancer, anti-hemorrhagic, whatever, anti-diarrheal, anti-inflammatory. So lots of antis. So we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, lots of antis.
Lots of antis. So these are just some more specific medicinal things. So especially locals in Socotra, which is where the lore of the brothers came from. So they use this resin as kind of like a heal all. So they used it for wound healing, coagulant, curing diarrhea, helping with fevers, also dysentery, ulcers, intestine, stomach, all kinds of stuff, even like eczema. So they used it for a lot of stuff. For wound healing specifically, studies show that it can speed up wound healing because it decreases the inflammation, which then promotes this like tissue regeneration, which helps fight infection because you're overturning the cells. And there's also been research on it in like ulcers, diabetic ulcers, pressure ulcers, oral ulcers, all kinds of stuff. And also I'll give you the like research articles that this all came from at the end. Also helped with skin conditions like psoriasis, dermatitis, as eczema, all kinds of stuff. For antimicrobial, it's found to kill pathogens like bacteria, fungi, viruses. So that's where all the antis come from. And then also it's supposed to help with diarrhea and cholera. And all of these things come from these three compounds, taspine, proanthocyanins, whatever, and catchin. Those are the important compounds.
Yes.
Perfect.
Exactly.
It's also been shown in studies in rat studies, in rodent studies for hormone regulation. So it basically inhibits the aromatase, which basically has a part in the conversion of androgen to estrogen. So it helps combat cancer cells, which is why we see it as an anti-cancer. Digestive aid is due to those three pathogens and compounds that I mentioned earlier. And then here's some more on anti-cancer, but this is in vitro studies. And so it's found that it stops the growth, invasion, and metastasis of cancer cells. And they talked about specific types of cancer, like breast cancer, colon cancer, and stuff. What else? Oh, and suppress the expression of genes and proteins involved in tumor development. So it's almost like even proactively. That was it for that. And then for magical, so here is dragon's blood covered sage, which I love. I think that this is like such a beautiful smelling combination. I love it so much. And then just dragon's blood on a charcoal disc is just in case you've never used dragon blood. It's very smoky, like a typical resin. So
those are pretty red bundles. I like those too.
Yeah, so good. So signs, I found 3: Aries, Gemini, and Scorpio. I don't know how I feel about this. Scorpio, I feel like is good, but I don't know about the other 2. Element is fire, which makes sense to me. So cards, again, I feel like there's something to the 2s because of the leaves growing in 2s. But I found the Emperor and the Tower. And then and then planet is Mars and chakra is root. So we'll circle back to those in a second. And then use is love. What the fuck? Love? Like, seriously, I do not understand.
Maybe because it's red. I just feel like anything red, people are like,
what it is. That's what it is. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm all Scott Cunningham.
It's so funny, I know.
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
Weird. This is why you should like connect with the herbs and like find out what calls you and not just reading stuff, because sometimes we're just like, fuck, like I just don't understand. I know it saddens me to think that there's a lot of people out there who want to get into like herbs and herbalism who are just reading Scott Cunningham, and I'm like, no, like sit with them, please. And then money drawing, also, what the fuck, I don't know, but I think that that's tied to prosperity because it came from the Silk Road trade. And so we've talked about this before. I wouldn't use this for prosperity. I mean, we've talked about this before.
Perhaps you would. We don't know.
Yeah. So then in the things that make more sense to me: protection, cleansing, exorcism, if you're into that, and then magical dye. So yeah, that's my go-to is like the magical ink and the cleansing. I mean, that's pretty much, I don't really even feel necessarily protective qualities, I guess, but I guess associating it with the dragon, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about all of this?
Or like the protection, I think it's kind of cool that like the idea that like the animal under the tree That's the only protection I can think of. It's like a
True.
little
Yeah. Like
And now
kitty.
you can actually imagine the little kitty under the tree there.
kitty under the tree is being very protected from
It's
the
protected under
rainstorm.
it's like it looks like an umbrella, you know. It looks like
Exactly.
it's gonna like come under my branches
Yeah.
and don't cut my leaves, I'll kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our dragon's blood.
Nice.
We love dragon's blood in this group.
We do. It's
Some
delicious.
good stuff. Some good stuff. I would lick it, but not because I thought there was opium in it.
I would lick it.
I
like anything though. Like
that's what I'm saying. But I lick things, so there you have that. Take that for what that's worth. I would lick it.
I kind of want to like touch it when it's still like in wet sappy form. I don't know. I just want to like touch it and get like the stain on my fingers a little bit.
I want a tree so bad, but they don't like the snow.
Yeah.
Don't seem to.
Yeah.
Well,
ooh, Rebecca, maybe you could do one.
Do a dragon's blood tree somewhere?
Yeah.
Perhaps. I know. That's kind of rad.
Like you're in an area where you can do pretty much anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you might as well at least give it a try.
It would be worth a try for sure.
I think it would be worth a try. That would be a fantastic tree. And then you could go sit under it like a little kitty.
Exactly. Meow. Meow. Exactly. I know.
It would be cool to sit under one of those like while it's raining,
I think so too. You know what? I think that they have one of those trees at there's like a ranch down here.
Okay.
It's the one with the peacocks. Like it's like
Is that the one that you took me to when I went down and visited you? And all the plants were like on the tables?
No, that's
okay.
That's like that was a store, I think. No, this is like this ranch and they have like these peacocks running wild. It's like Leo Carrillo, I think it is.
Okay, one of the like wineries or something. Is that what it is?
No, it's just, people have weddings there, but it's like we have like a
it's like a venue. I guess I don't know where that is exactly, but okay, cool.
Yeah, I think they have one of those trees there. So I think it does grow here.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anything, it will. I think it will.
Yeah.
Like I think I remember being like, just missed it. They can only do no snow.
Nice. Anyway, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you'll go out and use dragon's blood in any way you see fit, especially for the things that we like.
Yeah, do what we say.
Exorcism or cleansing. Cleansing is primary, I think.
Yeah,
protection.
Honestly.
Yeah, protection. Think of a little
and sitting under.
Exactly. And we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.